Malloy is an experimental language providing a new way of composing with data. Malloy is a semantic data model and a query language in one. It is hyperdimensional, allowing composition not just of measures and dimensions, but with entire queries and across relationships spanning your entire data set. And behind the scenes, everything in Malloy compiles to SQL, carefully optimized for your database while simplifying complex gestures and syntax. There are a number of tools and integrations built on top of Malloy, but in this video, we'll be focusing on the Malloy Composer, which exposes datasets modeled in Malloy to be visually explored through our hyperdimensional workflow. Let's jump in. If you'd like to follow along with this video, go to our website at malloydata.dev, scroll down to the Playground section, and click on Composer. This will open up our demo website, which includes models built on top of several data sets and should give you a good starting place to get to know the Malloy Composer. I'm going to open up the FAA dataset, which is a sampling of the full NTSB flights dataset. To get familiar with the dataset, we might like to take a look at some of these example queries and dashboards that we've provided. Let's start with something simple, the top carriers by the number of flights. We can see on the left a preview of the columns that we're grouping by as well as the aggregates. We can see a limit 10 is being applied and we can see how this is being rendered. Our results appear in this right pane and we can, as always in the Composer, see what SQL was actually generated to run this query as well as the Malloy that was issued against the model that was generated by piecing this together in the left pane. Let's start asking some more questions. Maybe we just want to see what the top carriers are that originate flights in San Francisco. So let's look for SFO, filter to that origin code, and click Run. And we can see now that United is in the lead. Now, maybe it'd be interesting to see what destinations each of these airlines are going to. So I'm going to nest in an additional query. So all of the queries that I have defined in my model are available to me as these building blocks that I can begin to compose with. So let's take a look at those top destinations and hit Run. And now we can see what these top 5 destinations are. We can see that in this data set, United has a lot of flights going to Las Vegas and Chicago. Let's ask a little bit more information and nest in a couple more things. Maybe let's take a look at how their flights have varied over time, as well as popular routes that originate from San Francisco. So I'll click Run. And let's make this a little easier to read by turning it into a dashboard instead of a table. And that's just going to re-render this for us using Malloy's rendering layer that is particularly powerful on these nested data sets. And as a reminder, we're now viewing this entire dashboard, giving us all this information per carrier, and it's still just a single pass of the data set, a single SQL query with a very simple representation in Malloy. Maybe we want to nest something that's not an existing building block and make something new. So I'll click Nest, New Nested Query, and let's see the flights by hour of day. So I'll say by hour of day is going to be my new nested query. I can simply work with time. So let's take this departure timestamp and select whether we want this a time frame or an extraction. Let's go with hour of day and press save. And now I'm going to aggregate this by the number of flights. Click Run, and maybe want to see that rendered as a bar chart as well. And now this has been added into my overall return and this dashboard that I'm seeing for each of my carriers. It's also simple to drill in Malloy. So if we want to understand a bit more about any of these data points, be it the carrier or one of the detailed destinations, let's take a look at United. So I'll click these 3 dots. And what this does is it pre-populates the isolating filters that help me drill into that. Maybe I want to see everything for United, not just SFO now, and I'll load in one of my queries, one of these building blocks that we've been working with. In this case, I'm curious just a high-level information about United, so I'll click Carrier Dashboard and hit Run. And now I have this high-level overview. I can see all of this about the carrier, and then I can see for each of the destinations, sort of a mini dashboard within it. And this is simple to swap out. If I want to see instead Southwest and US Air, I can produce a couple at once, and very easy to just keep iterating on this and using those building blocks that I've defined into my model to compose instead of needing to go back and write each of these things from scratch. To summarize what I just walked through, the Malloy Composer provides a simple visual interface, making it easy to query and produce rich hierarchical views of datasets modeled in Malloy. Each query acts as a reusable component, minimizing repetition and facilitating composability. If you'd like to try Malloy on your own data, you can find links to download the binary for the application, as well as our VS Code extension for developing Malloy models on our website. Please join our Slack community and send any questions and feedbacks our way. We'd love to talk to you.